Hello everyone, I am here with the mini excavator, and the last video I did was bending the hydraulic cylinder on my new thumb that I had put on this thing, and at the end of that video I said the thumb will be back. Well, it's coming back, so let me show you what I'm up to. So there's the thumb and there's the bent cylinder, and there's a new cylinder. So what I've done is I've gone a couple inches shorter and gone from 1.25 inch rod to 1.5 inch rod, which makes it about 2 times stronger. Now, the real problem wasn't the strength of the rod. The real problem was I didn't have a pressure relief valve. That's what this guy is. Pressure relief valve that goes into the valve block on the machine. Straight from Yanmar. Guess how much that thing costs? 450 bucks. Got a train coming. Anyway, this is the reason I bent that cylinder the last time, or lack of this, I should say, is the reason I bent that cylinder the last time. There are much cheaper external pressure relief valves for 55 to 100 bucks. But to plumb that into the machine with custom hoses and whatnot, you know, probably would save a couple $100 bucks, but I'm gonna go ahead and do this the right way. So I've got this valve. How did I find this valve? Well, lots of scouring the internet did me no good. I went to Yanmar, found someone who knew what they were talking about. He told me exactly what I needed and gave me some really nice pointers. So this pressure relief valve looks just like other relief valves that are down there. There's some other ones down there for other parts of the machine. And I've already kind of cleared the way a little bit, moved a hose, and I have stuck an Allen socket in the plug that is in the spot where this thing needs to go. So I'm gonna see if I can get a wrench in that. Everything's very tight. I removed a bunch of panels, even getting this job off. Had to use a crow's foot wrench. Fortunately, I brought those out with me to the farm. I'm gonna see if I can get a wrench on that and pull that out and see if this will thread in. Oh, come on. Oh, there it goes. Wow. How much oil is gonna come out of there? Okay, that is in. Wow. Well, it's 9 o'clock. I gotta get home. I'll come back later this week and see if I can't keep going. Okay, a few days later, I'm back at it. Let's keep going. So, relief valve is in, as you just saw. I need to hook this hose back up, and then I think I will do some adjustment of the pressure settings on the relief. I've learned that crow's foot wrenches are essential when working on these machines. Let's see if I can loosen that jam nut. Ah, there it goes. I'll try and mark the top. Okay. That's my starting position. Now each counterclockwise turn should decrease pressure by 2700 psi. I'm going to back it off one full turn. Then the thumb should be almost useless with such low pressure. But I'm gonna start low. I don't wanna break things again. I believe it is a 4mm Allen. There it goes. Hold that. One. You know what? I'm gonna go 1 1/4. What the heck? Let's go 2. This should render the thumb essentially useless. Hopefully it doesn't spew oil everywhere. Now we'll tighten the jam nut. Okay. Okay, before I put the thumb on and test things out, I need to deal with a mistake I made in the initial build. I've got way too much play on this pin in these ears. I'm going to weld these pieces of pipe in as bushings, but I'll first need to ream this out a bit so that that will slide in and then weld it in place. I had the same problem on the thumb and I dealt with it at home in the comfort of my garage, but essentially did the same thing. Welded these pieces of pipe in as bushings. So now there's essentially very little play and everything goes together very nice. That really tightens things up. So I'm gonna get that done up on the arm. Okay, well, grinder and paint, welder I ain't. I think I'll clean that up a little bit with the grinder, but I think it's pretty good. I'll get some primer on it and let's make sure. Let's make sure the pin beautiful. Okay, well, it's getting late, but it's all on. Everything's hooked up, fits really nice. I've got everything plumbed. I need to get some zip ties to secure this, but I don't have those out here right now. So now, with everything plumbed up, I can fire it up. I don't see any reason why this thing won't move. The question is, when I put the bucket on, can the bucket curl and push that cylinder in by the control of the pressure relief? So that's the real question. So let's try it out. Problem already that is pinching my hose, so I'll need to route that differently. Okay. Not bent. That's a good sign. Now, pressure's way down. Let's try and pick up a railroad tie. I'm not sure that'll work, but let's give it a shot. Okay, well that's no surprise because I had that pressure turned down so low. So, good thing is I'm not bending the cylinder. Very good thing is that pressure regulator does, that $450 pressure relief does exactly what it's supposed to do. Not not letting that cylinder take too much pressure. So it's getting late. I got to get home, but next time I'm out, I will change pressure on the relief. And then there's something else. Oh, change pressure on the relief, and then I need to reroute this hose because it is getting hammered. In fact, I hope I haven't permanently damaged it by pinching it there. So that is a problem. I'll have to take care of that and maybe just route it on the other side. There might be enough slack. Might be enough slack in that hose that I can route it around the other side of the cylinder and be fine, or just go get a slightly longer hose. That's okay too. Okay, day 3 on the Mini X. Trying to dial in final adjustments on the relief. I had it backed out 2 turns. I just put it in 3/4 of a turn. So let's say whatever the math is, 1200 PSI. We'll try it out, see if we can pick up some railroad ties. All right, take 3. I've taken it in another half turn. So now I'm 3/4 of a turn out from factory setting. Okay, final adjustment hopefully. I put it in another 1/4 turn, which means I'm now 1/2 turn off of factory setting. So I'm 870 PSI off of factory setting. The last time I ran it, I could pick up to these railroad ties. It seemed a little weaker than I'd like. So as long as the bucket can overcome the cylinder, which I'll test right now, then hopefully this, where it's set right now, 1/2 turn off of factory, is sufficient. Okay, I think we'll go with that. Noticeably more pressure taken by the bucket to overcome that cylinder, but it still went in, nothing broke. That is a heavy cylinder than I had on there before, so hopefully we can use it today and no carnage. Did I just jinx myself? works. Awesome. I'm stoked. The one problem is because I got a shorter cylinder, the upper attachment point is too far up the arm, so it doesn't reach as far to clamp as I'd like it. So eventually I'll cut that upper attachment point off, clean it up, and weld it back on a little bit lower, but that's a project for who knows when, another time. But, well, a lot of work yet to do on the pond, but you can see behind me here, it's, well, you can see. Before, it was so dense with growth, couldn't walk through here, let alone see through here. And so now, cleaning up all the branches, getting them pushed into the pond, I'll burn them in there, and then get to work digging out the pond and getting it dammed back up so I can have a nice pond again. All right, thanks for watching. The thumb is back. Now on to the next project.